Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you an unboxing video of the Nike Tiempo Legend 4 in the brand new Euro 2012 Clash Collection colorway. Before I get to the shoes, here's the actual bag. It's just a white bag, says Tiempo on it, it's white on both sides. Not that interesting. I'll get the shoes out of the box for you. Get the box out of the way. And basically here they are. This is the Legend in the brand new Clash colorway. Wow. As a lot of you guys are probably aware, I am not the biggest fan of the latest generation Tiempo, which I should have been more prepared for and had them ready. I'm not a huge fan of the Nike Tiempo Legend 8 Elite, not because it isn't a great pair of boots, because it is, but my gripe here is that the Kangaroo leather, the most important part and what makes a Tiempo, really isn't the star of the show this time around, which is why I think you can make the argument that the Nike Premier 2 might be more Tiempo than the Tiempo. And what I have here as an example is the Euro 2012 colorway Remake on the Nike Premier 2, which looks absolutely incredible, and the boot only retails for $110 US. They both have Kangaroo leather uppers, but this costs $230 and this costs $110, meaning that you could buy two pairs of Premiers for less than it costs to buy one pair of Legend 8 Elites. So what I want to talk about is why I think the Nike Premier is actually the better leather football boot over the Nike Tiempo, which is definitely the better overall performer, but for a fraction of the price, what you're getting here is super underrated. So we're gonna go over all the details, including how they fit and feel on feet. So if you wanna learn more, please stick around, watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself in this gorgeous colorway, you can click the little pop-up in the corner of the screen or the first link down below. That's gonna take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $110 retail price. So included with the boots is an orange box that contains nothing. So even though the Premier 2 is technically a top-end model, at least I would consider it to be one, it does not include a string bag like other Nike top-end models. As for the boots themselves, the Nike Premier 2 is about as simple a football boot as you'll find these days. The upper made out of Kangaroo leather that is really soft, and the majority of the upper is also made out of Kangaroo leather. Basically, the heel is made out of a synthetic where you find this embossed Nike logo, but everything forward of that, excluding the actual tongue, which is a bit of a disappointment, is made from Kangaroo leather. And I know a lot of people who watch my reviews watch the first review that I do of a new boot and then don't watch any colorway updates. My original review on the black and white one that launched when the Nike Premier 2 first came out, I don't know if I had a bad pair, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but the leather on that boot wasn't overly impressive. Every other colorway of Nike Premier 2 that I've had since then has had really good quality that is on par with what we had from the original Nike Premier, which I was also a big fan of. So from a quality perspective, I think that this is honestly every bit as good as the Kangaroo leather that you'll find on the $200 Tiempo Legend 8 Elite, which is saying a lot considering that this costs a fraction of the price. So Kangaroo leather, very straightforward. It's reinforced by way of stitching, minimal stitching at that. So these boots will stretch. They're not nearly as responsive as what you'll find from the top-end Tiempo Legend 8 Elite, but that's not the point. This is supposed to be more traditional. The star of the show is the leather, and if you're a fan of that style of football boot, I think you're gonna be really happy with what these provide. The laces obviously run directly down the middle. It does have a standard tongue, so if you're one of those people that does not like these one-piece uppers that every boot seems to have, this does not have that. And then it does have, kind of inspired by the Tiempo Legend 1 and 2, the fold-over flap tongue with the Velcro to hold it down. That really is just added bulk across the top of the foot. There is no actual performance benefit to it. It's a lace cover at the end of the day, but I think it looks quite cool, and it's just something that I don't mind being there if I'm being completely honest. Moving to the rear, you'll find that the boot does have a very standard, very traditional low cut, an internal plastic heel counter, and a very smooth synthetic suede heel liner with tons of extra padding, very comfortable, and really good heel lockdown as well. The insole is fully removable, and I think has the best liner out of any top-end model from Nike, any Nike boot period, in that it has this kind of almost matted texture to it that's a little bit grippy on the socks. It's not too significant, but it is a little bit different than the perfectly smooth mesh that you'll find on most other models. And then it's just made from a single layer of this black foam.
Otherwise, a pretty straightforward insole. Moving to the base, you'll find a plastic sole plate with plastic studs. It is pretty much as simple as it gets. It's a single layer of plastic that's relatively thin, super flexible, so it gives this boot a very natural sensation in terms of how it bends with your foot. I quite like the super flexible feel. Some people do not. Obviously, it's a little bit more on the traditional side. My one complaint in regards to this sole plate long term with a pair of Nike Premiers is that because it is on the thinner side, some stud pressure can be an issue if you play on slightly harder ground once the boots have started to break down a little bit. So just something to keep in mind, but for most people, it should not be a problem. As far as the stud pattern is concerned, it's only available, or I guess technically isn't actually, it's completely false information. This is a firm ground variation. They do make an anti-clog soft ground pro version as well, which I believe I have actually reviewed on the channel. Either way, this is the most common variant of the boot, where you will find that it does have 4 conical studs on either side of the forefoot, a support stud in the middle, these little teeth at the tip of the toe that I don't think do anything at all, kind of mercurial-esque. It's kind of the one modern element that this boot has, I would say, and then 4 studs at the heel. As far as Nike firm ground stud patterns go, these studs are slightly shorter than the average ones that they make, meaning that it's not super aggressive. It doesn't provide a ton of extra bite, but the traction as a whole is really, really good. And if you wore Tiempos back in the day before they got all modern, this is basically a stud pattern that you got. Which brings us to the weight, which is an extremely important aspect of modern football boots. And we've seen a trend in the Tiempo line, starting with the Tiempo Legend 7 and obviously transitioning into the 8, where the boots have gotten a lot lighter. Not the point where I think it has affected the boots negatively, but leather boots in general are lighter than they used to be. And I think if somebody saw the Nike Premier 2, they'd expect them to be heavy, but they're not. In a size 9.5 US, the Nike Premier 2 weighs in at 8.4 ounces, the equivalent of 238 grams, which is certainly not the lightest pair of football boots that you can buy, but it's going to be very similar in weight to something like a Predator 19.1 or 19 Plus, which is, I don't think, a pair of boots that people view as heavy, so I don't think you should view these as heavy either. If you're looking for a super light boot, you're probably not into the Premier 2 anyways, but if you're expecting them to be Copa Mundial heavy, they're not. So as you can see, I've swapped out the stock black laces, which admittedly do look really good. Part of what makes this colorway so special is how simple it is, but I've swapped them out for some white and black grid pattern SR4U replacement laces. So it does add a little bit of a pattern, but incorporates both the white and black as the 2 main colors within the laces that I actually think looks quite cool. It's a great way of changing up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way. So if you're looking to do that with your boots, the website to head over to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, there really isn't much to say about these, mainly because it's such a simple pair of football boots. The Kangaroo leather is soft, and the entire upper is made out of one material. It has a regular tongue with a central lacing system, so when you tie the laces tight, it has a nice snug fit. I will say that out of the box, they will fit a lot more snug than they will after a couple of wears, based on the leather stretching pretty significantly. So it's very recommended with this particular boot, as with most leather boots, that you get them to fit you properly out of the box. You want them to fit a little bit more snug, because if you buy them with too much extra space, once they stretch out, it is possible that they will overstretch, but as long as you get the right size from the get-go, that should not be an issue. Once broken in, however, once they've molded to your feet, they will feel incredibly soft, incredibly comfortable. Like I said, the sole plate is nice and flexible, and it's really just a no-nonsense classic pair of Kangaroo leather football boots for a very low price. As far as the width is concerned, these are going to be suitable for anybody, again, as long as you get the right size from the start. Just realize that they are going to stretch as you wear them in. So as long as you don't have super narrow feet, I think that these will fit pretty much anybody. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and fit and length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, is the $110 Nike Premier 2 actually better than the $230 Tiempo Legend 8 Elite? And I think the answer to that question in most categories is no. This boot is lighter, this boot offers more aggressive traction, it's certainly more responsive, and I would argue that it has a better long-term fit due to the leather not stretching quite as much. But the one area where the Nike Premier 2 definitely beats out the current Tiempo is in regards to touch. The purity of just having a simple leather upper is something that this boot simply cannot beat the Nike Premier 2 at, and that's because this is just a leather upper. They haven't done anything fancy, and they don't need to do anything fancy. I think that's the problem with a lot of modern leather boots, is they try to complicate things, which is exactly what Nike has done here. But I think if you're after a really simple pair of classic football boots that look the part and are super inexpensive by today's standards, you're gonna be really, really happy with the Nike Premier 2. It's kind of like pizza. Sometimes it's good to have a pizza with absolutely everything on it, but sometimes you want just cheese. Don't know why I'm thinking about pizza. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in some Nike Premier 2s in this colorway or any of the other hundreds of colorways that Nike has seemingly put out at this point, all of those will be available on the review page of my website, which you can access by clicking the first link down below. On that page, you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick these up below their normal $110 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. If you're not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you don't miss out on the next upload. All of my social media information is linked down below, so make sure you follow me there if you don't already. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.